Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This week's video is going to be a little bit different to what I usually do, in the sense that usually I'm sat down at my desk, we have a Miro board out, and I'm trying to give you guys some great value that you can go away and use yourself. This week, I'm going to tell you a bit of a story about my start in the online business space, and also the lessons I've learned over the last few years that maybe you could learn yourselves or take some advice from me and don't go wrong where I went wrong, I suppose. Over the last few weeks, I've invested in my own coach, a business coach, a life coach, call it what you want, someone to help me to get where I want to be. For the last few years, before that stage, I spent years keeping all my money to the side. Every last bit of revenue I had, I just wanted to keep that, and I'd earned that. I didn't want to go and spend that somewhere on something that I thought was maybe couldn't work, really. But I think even after a few weeks of investing in my business, I'm seeing the benefit. And then when I look back on my own business growth, the places and the times where I had the most growth, that was a direct result of some kind of investment, be that financially, be that physically or mentally. Some kind of skin in the game has been the best thing for me of leveling up my business. So I'll take you back a few years ago. I was working in the corporate world in London. I'd got the job I wanted. I'd got the title I wanted. I was working in a bank in Canary Wharf in a big old skyscraper wearing a suit, even though I swore when I was a child I wanted to wear shorts every day of my life. I never wanted to wear a suit. Anyway, I was working in the job that I always wanted, and I hated it. After a few years, I'd had enough. I'd just got my promotion. I just got my new job title, I just got a nice pay rise, and it felt dull. I felt numb. That's when I started exploring what made me happy, what my purpose was. And that's when I stumbled across a passion for creating systems, a passion for growth. I was always in the online space, I was always in the online communities looking at online business, but I'd never actually taken the plunge myself. And that realization in my corporate job made me make the jump into the online business space. Granted, after 3 months, I didn't really know what I was doing. I kind of took the approach of, to the blind man, the one-eyed man is king. To summarize that, if someone doesn't know anything about a subject, if I spent 4 weeks and really got to understand at least the basics, then I could be at a place where, even though I'm not a full expert, I know a lot more than that other person, and most importantly, I know enough to help that person. So that got me involved in marketing. And at the time, it was just running paid ads. There was nothing else on the side. It was just completely and utterly paid ads, looking to help gym owners. So after a lot of stumbling around in that space, I came across a course online. I think it was an advertisement on YouTube, and something to the effect of, I will get you 30 clients in the next 90 days. The first time I'd ever seen something like that. So instantly I was hooked. And this was quite a few years back now. So I got myself on the sales call. I didn't really know what I was expecting going into it. But at the end of the call, it sounded great. It sounded like it was going to get me to where I wanted to be. They sold me on the whole, what kind of life do you want? The psychology tricks that people don't say is influencing you, but really is influencing you. What kind of life do you want? You want to be a nomad. You want to travel. You don't want to stay in that job. You want to change your life. Yes, I do. That sounds a lot like me. That sounds like something I've told myself in the mirror every morning. And then it got to the price. The price at the end of it was 10,000 US dollars. Now, yes, I had a nice job. I was a big saver. $10,000 is a lot to anybody. I don't care how much you earn. That is a lot of money, especially for something in a domain that you don't really know much about. I told him I'd take the time to go and think about it. I went away, thought about it, made some excuses in my head, and then emailed him back saying, I don't think I'm going to progress with this. And that's where he sent me the email that I really think changed the trajectory of my life and my business. He made the point to me of how important it is to invest in the goals that I want, invest in the future. Again, like I said at the start, be that financially, be that any type of commitment. Invest in it and you're halfway there. You put some skin in the game and you will put the work in to get you to where you need to be. This was also at a time when I was only charging £500 per month for my services. So I needed 20 clients to even break even on this course. I couldn't stop thinking about that price. I didn't know whether to laugh out loud, cry, get angry when he told me. I feel some kind of injustice. Now, after the fact, I've learned how much value is in there, and also the work that was involved into creating that course and that community. Now I understand it a lot better, but at the time it felt like a bit of a cheap shot for someone who was in need of help. I remember the time that I did it. I was sat in my London apartment at my tiny desk. I'd just finished my day job, and I had another call with the sales guy, Vince, his name was. It's a great guy. And we basically sat down and he helped me out to figure out everything of the next few months of my life, how I would structure out the payments. He gave me a payment plan, gave me the guarantee, gave me the whole structure of how I was going to get to the point where I was going to get a lot more value back from the price that I was paying, I suppose. And then I did it. I spent the most amount of money in one go than I ever have. And I was excited. As soon as the money left, I was excited. Yes, granted, whilst I was putting my card details in, I was the most scared I've ever been. And then probably immediately after, I was the most excited I've ever been. Partly because I knew what kind of program I was getting myself into, but otherwise, partly because I had just given myself no option, no choice but to succeed. There was literally no other choice. I could not let this $10,000 go to waste. It's not an option. I think I unlocked something inside myself that day. I think this is the weird thing about making a decision that scares you. You immediately become a different person. Before I even attended the first session in the program, I was showing up differently day to day, building my business on the side. I wasn't playing around anymore. I wasn't dabbling. I had skin in the game, real skin. I think when you invest at that level, your brain does this incredible thing where it stops looking for excuses and starts looking for solutions. Because I guess, like I said before, failure is not an option when you've bet that much. Within 90 days, I'd reconstructed my entire offer, my entire business. I had new messaging, I had new everything. 6 months later, I had my first $5,000 a month. And a few years later now, I'm at the stage where I put so much thanks and value into that program that I had because of what it's given me now. So yes, the business has changed a lot, but what really changed is my identity. And I think when you become a business owner, your business and your identity become interlocked. I went from someone who had a marketing business on the side to someone who was a marketer, an online marketer, a real one. So I think the real lesson I just wanted to share is that the $10,000 didn't just buy me information, it bought me a new version of myself. It brought me confidence, clarity. Most importantly, it forced me to take myself seriously. The online coaches, the online business owners, whatever you want to call them, the ones who invest big, win big. Not because the expensive programs are inherently any better than the others, but because when you have that much on the line, you show up like your life depends on it. So if you're sitting there thinking right now, I wish I could afford to invest like that. I get it. I was there too. I didn't have the money. I had a good enough job to get that amount of money. But the lesson here isn't about the amount of money that you invest. It's about to what level the investment you make is stretching you to where you're uncomfortable, as I was. But here's the other truth. You can't afford not to invest in yourself nowadays. There's that many online coaches and that many online business owners at that who are all investing in themselves every day. More and more people in the market for a market which is inherently staying the same. Every month you wait is another month you stay exactly where you are and your competitors get ahead of you. I can tell you the fear never goes away, the timing is never perfect, the money never becomes extra money that you can just invest on the side. But growth happens when you're scared. Growth happens when it's inconvenient. And growth happens when you decide you're worth betting on.